WWE characters can be annoying. A lot of them can be very annoying. So annoying that it makes me want to super kick someone's car window or put someone in the master lock. I could be watching an episode of Raw or SmackDown having a great time, but then their face pops up and my mood drops. Every sound, every move they make gets me more and more irritated to the point where I'm only left with two options. Either I sit through it and suffer in silence, or I destroy my TV. And I like my TV, so I really only have one. And an example of a character that causes this is 2022 to 2024 Rhea Ripley. In 2022, Rhea Ripley joined the Judgment Day, which was cool. I didn't have a problem with it, but then she started interfering in their matches. Match after match, segment after segment, low blowing men left and right, picking them up and slamming them week after week. Over time, it became irritating because she was beating on guys and the guys didn't do anything about it, which I respect. I don't advocate violence on women. Also, if they did beat up Rhea, it would probably get clipped out of context, put on Twitter, and a group of feminists would be outside WWE headquarters rioting. And the most annoying part about this whole Rhea Ripley situation is that she would walk around all cocky and arrogant as if she was untouchable, calling men out to fight knowing they wouldn't do anything. So it was looking like for the rest of the time, we would have to watch Rhea Ripley fold grown men over unconsensually every Monday night. But then Randy came back. Finally, order can be restored, Rhea would get what's coming to her, and everything could go back to normal. But there was a problem. It didn't happen. Out of all the times to choose not to RKO a woman, he chooses now, when it's needed the most. Old Randy Orton was RKOing women left and right, from first generation OnlyFans workers to AARP members. Old Randy Orton would have RKO'd Rhea at first sight, on the spot with no remorse. But unfortunately, Randy would go to SmackDown, leaving Rhea to continue her reign of terror until she got injured. Another annoying character is 2011 to 2012 John Cena. 2011 was peak Super Cena. He was beating everybody, always in the main event scene, and everybody hated it. They were making hate shirts, they remixed his theme song, and they were preying on Cena's downfall. Personally, I didn't mind Cena. Sure, he buried a couple of stars, but let's be real, they weren't gonna amount to anything anyway. Overall, I thought he was a cool, likable guy until July 25th, 2011, when I found out how big of a menace he actually was. On the July 25th, 2011 episode of Raw, Rey Mysterio won the WWE Championship in a tournament after CM Punk ran out of WWE with the original championship. But literally, that same night, John Cena would cash in his rematch clause for the championship. He couldn't even give Rey one night. Rey couldn't have a celebration, a nap, or even a picture before he has to worry about Super Cena. Cena's making his shovel work overtime, just because he feels like it. John Cena ends up beating Rey, and that was it. That was the end of Rey's title reign. 2 hours. That's shorter than Endgame. That's 6 episodes of The Office. Rey was champion for 6 episodes of The Office. It's crazy. And it's sad because Rey was supposed to be a shining example that short people can win in life. For the short people that have to ask a tall person or use a step stool to reach the top shelf, or the short guy that was overlooked, literally, by the woman they wanted. Rey was supposed to be the exception, the difference maker. He's too nice of a guy for this to happen. Super Cena just had to have his championship. Another situation is with CM Punk. In late 2011, CM Punk won the WWE Championship again. 2012 was supposed to be his year, but he only main evented 3 pay-per-views that year. John Cena main evented 9. And out of those 3 CM Punk main evented, 2 of them involved John Cena. CM Punk was the champion. He was supposed to be the guy, but instead was fighting in the middle of the card while a man with no belt is at the top. Clearly, WWE didn't want to see CM Punk shine, and they just gave the belt to him because he was a fan favorite. Only other person more annoying than John Cena during this time period was John Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis had to be the most annoying general manager in WWE history. I'd rather hear a recording of Vicky Guerrero saying excuse me at full blast for 5 hours straight, no pauses, than hear John Laurinaitis' voice on Raw again. And it didn't take long for Laurinaitis to expose himself as a certified clown, because one of the first things that he did was fire JR, one of the best, if not the best commentators in WWE at the time, and he was just fired for no reason. It was a great time having JR on commentary, not only because of how good he was, but because it reduced the amount of glazing we'd hear from Michael Cole. Michael Cole was glazing all the heels, especially The Miz. I don't know if he was paid off by The Miz or wanted to be his cheerleader, but the glazing was insane. John Laurinaitis would soon begin to feud with CM Punk because Punk saw through Laurinaitis and wasn't gonna fall in line like everybody else. Laurinaitis would make Punk's life in WWE stressful by constantly interfering in his matches and making Punk jump through hoops just to retain his championship. After his situation with Punk died down, he would shift his attention over to Teddy Long. Leading up to WrestleMania 28, John Laurinaitis and Teddy Long would each build a team, and those teams would face off each other at WrestleMania, and the GM of whichever team won would take control of Raw and SmackDown. I wanted to see Team Teddy win, so Teddy Long could take over John Laurinaitis' spot and we'd never have to see Laurinaitis again. At the time, I was fully confident that Team Teddy would take the victory, but when I look back at it, Team Teddy didn't even have a chance. Team Teddy had an old Booker T, a man who could barely wrestle, Zack Ryder, and Kofi Kingston, while Team Johnny had 4 former world champions, a lawyer, and a malnourished Drew McIntyre. Team Johnny would win, and this would only make him more irritating. Also, he was always on his phone backstage, and he was always stumbling over his promos. Eventually, John Laurinaitis would run into John Cena, and we all know how that goes. Cena would end up getting John Laurinaitis fired, and that would be the end of him and People Power. Another annoying person was Hardcore Holly. The reason that Hardcore Holly is annoying is more so of his actions outside of the ring. Hardcore Holly is a well-known bully. Some wrestlers would say Hardcore Holly gets a bad rap and is really a nice guy, while others in the fans would say otherwise. Hardcore Holly was known to bully the rookies or people that were smaller than him that rubbed him the wrong way. In his career, he was a low to mid-card jobber, but backstage, he was a veteran, and that veteran status can let you get away with a lot of things others can't. On an episode of Tough Enough Season 3, Hardcore Holly and Tough Enough rookie Matt Cappotelli would be competing against each other in an 8-man tag. The match was going great until Hardcore Holly got tagged in, and as soon as he got in the ring, you could tell he was ready to take his anger out on Matt, and that's what he did. Holly was working stiff. He was connected with kicks to the stomach, stomps to the face, chops down on his neck. He gave Matt a busted lip, bloody nose, and a black eye. His excuse for this was to show Matt how tough the business was. But he was literally doing everything you shouldn't do in the business. Years later, Holly would do an interview about the situation, and he'd say that Matt was disrespecting the business by laughing and goofing around during the matches, and he wanted to teach him a lesson. He also said that Al Snow, who was a trainer on the show, was mommying them too much. If Al Snow was the mom, then Holly was the drunk deadbeat dad who was beating on the son he never wanted. Matt would get depressed, and then Bill DeMott would come to comfort him.
When he settles down, when his black eye opens, when his chest heals, Matt has learned the biggest lesson he will ever learn.
To never work with Hardcore Holly. Also, another situation is when him, Benoit, and Guerrero ganged up on another Tough Enough contestant, Daniel Puder, in the Royal Rumble, where they were hitting him with chops relentlessly. Some may say he deserved it though. A lot of fans would see these clips and get irritated, but then they'd go watch Brock Lesnar dropping Holly on his neck, and they'd see it as karma. And last but not least, Brock Lesnar. In 2014, Brock Lesnar won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and it was interesting because it wasn't the same Brock Lesnar from 10 years before. This was the Beast incarnate, the 1 in 21 and 1 who fought 2 to 3 times a year. So it was intriguing to see how this title reign would play out, which in the end didn't really change much, but that was okay because 2014 WWE felt different. Like the dark days of the PG era were over and a change was happening. In a good way. Yeah, Raw was still a okay show, and the quality level of SmackDown was still in hell, but the roster was like a breath of fresh air. The Shield broke up and are now on their own singles career. Superstars from the rebranded NXT were popping up on the main roster, and the Authority was entering their peak storyline wise. So Brock taking the title and leaving was evened out by the developing WWE environment. And when Brock did defend the championship, he put on decent matches. So his 2014 world title run was cool, but his 2017 run was annoying. Unlike his 2014 title run, his 2017 title run, he only had half of the roster to feud with because of the brand split. This resulted in him facing Braun Strowman 3 times, Roman Reigns 4 times, and having Kane at one point. Do you know how cooked the roster has to be to have 2018 Kane be seen as a potential threat to the world title? Raw was in the trenches. But don't get me wrong, the matches were great, but the majority of the feuds overall were terrible. The only good feud was with Samoa Joe when Joe was standing on business, beating Brock Lesnar up like he was Cain Velasquez. And after these feuds, months would pass without him appearing on Raw, leaving the IC title to be used as the main title. WWE tried to use the IC title as the main by having a main event pay-per-views, but nobody saw it as the main title. It was really the stepdad of the Raw title division. Yeah, you take care of the main responsibilities of the dad, but we know you're not the real one. You're just a fill-in. Another situation was when he won the Money in the Bank briefcase. He didn't need the briefcase. He would have got a chance at SummerSlam or some other pay-per-view. There were better options. Finn Balor, Mustafa Ali, Andrade, Ricochet, and the match was brutal. The spots were crazy. Those men went through all those spots just for Brock to come in and win it. Tragic. So, in summary, WWE superstars can have a few bad moments, many good moments, but a lot of annoying ones.